Hey, this is NG36B. Just giving some comments on Action Plan 11, promoting multilateral allied action against cyber attack. I actually used to participate in a COE. I was actually part of the Cooperative Joint Operations in the Sea Center of Excellence, not the Cyber Defense COE. However, being kind of familiar with what COEs are, they're a really great think tank. They're really, as you can see from the Tallinn manual and whatnot, they do come out with a lot of good stuff, but unfortunately, they're not necessarily binding. The CJOS COE that I participated in actually worked out well because it the doctrine that they drove there was immediately combined at Second Fleet and used to drive exercises for training on the East Coast. I don't think you can necessarily have that with cyber because you don't have those kind of organizations yet. One of the pieces that I think we're kind of missing is we're kind of focused on Europe right now. We're focused on cyber attacks in Europe, cyber attacks in Europe. Like that's where we are going to get our money. And sadly, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be true because everybody's going to view cyber a little bit differently there. And they are kind of dealing with everything from from high level cyber attacks from actors like Russia to low level, essentially piracy. I think we actually might be better off with forming a coalition for cyber attacks in places like South America and Africa. The reason for that is the cyber attacks that happen in places like Africa and South America, they're not going to be they're not going to be as many state-sponsored attacks. It's going to be more low-level terrorists, or it's going to be gangsters and thugs and thieves and stuff like that. The reason that that's actually really good is everybody hates those people. It's when you have a common enemy, life is good. It's hard to agree on a common enemy in Europe because not everybody views it the same way. Some countries in Europe do not want to stoke the bear. They do not want to piss off Russia, to put it bluntly, because they know that Russia is right next door. Other people absolutely want to like punch back as quickly as possible. And I think Russia actively uses that to its advantage, and they do an extremely good job of waging cyber war and combining it with operations. If we were to obviously continue our engagement and such in Europe, but if we were to propose for both South America and Africa, hey, here is a cyber defense, essentially a treaty, if you will. Here's how we would like to kind of stand up cyber defense starting in places like Africa and South America. We can do it for very cheap. We can do it for, you know, we can use people that are not the best of the best. Okay. That's definitely not a downplay against anybody that's in the cyber realm. It's a very technical realm. It's it's very tough to stay advanced and to stay, up to the minute by minute. But the reality is that the people that are attacking in Africa and South America aren't going to be as advanced. So we can afford to have less advanced people there. We also can then afford to train people from those countries, and they can very quickly get better than the enemy. It's very hard to train somebody to be better than a state-sponsored cyber actor. It's not so hard to train somebody to be better than a terrorist-sponsored cyber actor because they just don't have as much training and they're just not as good. So I think we should focus our efforts on Africa as well as South America. We can come up with a quicker treaty there that people will readily sign on to because we have a common enemy. And as that kind of progresses, that will allow us to work the kinks out, if you will, on cyber and cyber treaties, and whether you respond kinetically, whether you respond with a cyber worm, a cyber attack tool, something like that, and how that works and how to really measure second and third order effects, something that we still struggle to do properly. So I think doing that in a place like Africa and South America would actually make a lot more sense, would get us a lot further along on this problem, and really start to put a lot more pen to paper and help us build a good framework that would work for more advanced countries. So that's my thoughts, and feel free to add to the comments.